record button. So this will be recorded and placed on the YouTube channel probably about 10 minutes after we finish the broadcast. I usually do that right away. If you have questions, please put them in the chat room. Remember to mute yourself so that we don't hear the kids and the dogs, and in my case, the TV, which I almost forgot about. My name is Kathy Shull. I'm the Executive Director of Pro15 and want to welcome you here today for Plain Talk, which we do about twice a month now with different subjects. And today we're going to be talking about an opportunity on a grant program through the Opportunity Zone. And we have with us Ron Stites and Jeff, I'm sorry, your last name again. Ron and Jeff, we'll do that right now. So let's just get started. Ron, if you will talk a little bit about your business, how you're connected with the State Office of Economic Development, and then we'll go into more details on this grant program.
Right. Thanks, Kathy. The company we have is Colorado Center for Innovation in Community Capital, CC4ICC, kind of a mouthful. We launched this company toward the end of 2019, third quarter of 2019. The purpose of the company is to help small businesses raise money. I started my career as a research chemist years and years ago, and I was involved in a lot of development work, taking new technologies and trying to take them to market. I got my MBA in finance and accounting, got more and more into business and the funding side of startups, innovative companies, and it became really clear to me that we are getting weaker and weaker in our ability to fund small businesses. And there's a lot of reasons for that, and I won't go into that. But it's just the truth of the matter is, it is more and more difficult. It has become more and more difficult as time goes on for really good ideas to see the light of day and really grow into something that can be something good, except for a very few narrowly defined areas. Seems like this gets hot, that gets hot, and everything else just sort of loses ground. The latest hot stuff, of course, is phone apps, things like that. But when it comes to just generally growing small business, I felt like we just didn't have the kind of capitalization we needed. So I launched this business toward the end of last year, not even knowing that the Colorado Office of Economic Development and International Trade was actually seeing the same sort of thing in opportunity zones. And we can talk a little bit more about what those are, but they are areas that need more help for economic development. Didn't even know they were actually putting out an RFP for a contract to pay a consulting firm like what we have to help small businesses around the state of Colorado raise money to grow their business. So when we ran across that, we bid on that and we won it. And that program was initially designed to select 10 good small businesses in opportunity zones with an emphasis on rural areas, because it is an economic development program, to go out and find those businesses, basically run a sort of a contest on who seemed to be the most qualified, ready to roll, bring them together, and then the state of Colorado pays us to help those companies with their pitching, with their planning, with their business plans, their capital campaign plans, and help them raise money. And it can be a mix of equity or debt. It doesn't have to be equity, all equity. Doesn't have to be all debt. It doesn't even all have to be opportunity zone funds. We can talk a little bit more about that, and I'm sure Kathy will quiz me more on that. Kathy, does that kind of give you a little bit of a background where we are, how we got started, and what we're doing? And right now we are launching a second round. So we actually split this into two groups. Sorry about that. We ran one round a couple months ago. We actually put 6 companies into play that we're working with right now, and we're going out for another, essentially 6 more. 6 plus 6 is actually 12. So we have actually expanded it just a little bit, thinking that, well, maybe along the way, 1 or 2 might drop out. We'd like to get 10 businesses capitalized and growing their business. That answer your question there, Kathy?
That does, and I'm not seeing any questions in the chat area. Most of us on the call probably know about the opportunity zones, but give me a little bit of an overview of what it is, that it's not only rural, that there can be an opportunity zone in an urban area, how we got to opportunity zones.
Well, this was really part of a program really pushed by the Trump administration. It's designed to take a look at geographic areas that have not grown economically very well. Colorado is one of a handful of states that really did, I think, a pretty admirable job of taking this seriously and going after establishing these zones in the right places. The right being, the Trump administration realized that there were several sectors that were struggling. Rural was one, and then certain urban areas, blighted urban areas, were also hurting. So what the Trump administration did, it said, states, go and try to find these geographic areas, and based on census tracts, carve out these areas that have not been growing as the rest of your state has been growing, and apply to get those set aside as opportunity zones. If it all makes sense, what that allows you to do in an opportunity zone is to take capital gains dollars, invest them, and this is a high level view, invest them into an opportunity zone, and you actually get some relief on the current capital gains tax. But sort of the big deal is any investment that you have made in an opportunity zone can grow capital gains tax free if you leave your money in that investment for 10 years. That's the overarching view of it and how opportunity zones came to be. In the state of Colorado, I'd like to say that I think did an admirable job of selecting those areas. A lot of them are rural areas. There are some urban areas, but they're urban areas that have sort of fallen by the wayside. In the last 15 years or so, the state of Colorado has had great economic growth, but virtually all of it has been from that corridor from Colorado Springs, Colorado Springs up to Fort Collins, that Front Range corridor. Outside of there, and in a few areas even inside there, that growth has not been so great. This is an opportunity to try to redirect investment dollars into areas like those. To find an opportunity zone, you basically go on the OEDIT, and you'll hear us say OEDIT, Office of Economic Development, International Trade, OEDIT. They have a site that has a very good map, and you can zoom in to see if your operation is in an opportunity zone or not.
Well, and on opportunity zones, I think the one thing, and I'm more familiar with those in Morgan County, one block could be in and the next block might not be in.
Exactly.
That's almost the very first step you have to do in this process, is go onto that map and see if the business that you're looking at or talking about is in that zone.
Well, the other piece of it, Kathy, is it either is in the zone or you intend to move into that zone. So if you have a startup and you're willing to commit to putting it into an opportunity zone, that's actually an opportunity, a business we would take a look at.
Okay. So in or headed towards one.
Exactly.
Great. And Jeff just put up a link to the Opportunity Zone map in the chat room. So that's available for anybody that wants to look at it. So is there any criteria on what kind of business you'll work with? Can it be ag? Can it be retail? Can it be a service business? What is the criteria that you're looking at for these businesses?
This is designed to fund for-profit businesses. So no nonprofits and no pure real estate deals. It's for an operating business. It is a contest. So if you have a great idea, I mean a super killer idea, it might win. But more apt to win is someone who has a going business and they're ready to expand it. That's always a better investment of dollars. So OEdit is kind of sitting in the seat of somewhat as an investor. They want to select those companies that can attract investment dollars and move forward. And that would be investment dollars of equity, or they would consider debt also being a possibility. What's interesting about this as an opportunity zone program is you do not actually have to have opportunity zone funds. It can be non-opportunity zone funds. It doesn't have to be capital gains invested through an opportunity zone fund to actually work in this program. They just want economic development in those Oz zones. So that's been one of the weaknesses of the whole program is if you don't have an Oz fund, you don't have capital gains, you cannot get the benefits of the Oz zone program. The state doesn't really, we don't care. We just want economic development in those areas. So you don't have to have a fund. If you have a fund, or if we can create a fund for you, that actually might be more enticing to investors who happen to have capital gains to invest. But that's not necessary to be part of this fund, to be part of this program, I should say. So any kind of a for-profit company that is either in or willing to relocate to an opportunity zone, it has to be a business plan, preferably one that would generate new jobs, that also fits a criteria of, they have basically three criteria. One is economic sustainability. The other is positive impact on the community. So positive impact on the community is a plus. So it can be it wouldn't be a nonprofit, but it could be a community benefit type corporation. That's a possibility, but not a nonprofit. And then it has to be in the Oz zone, located in the Oz zone. That's it. Those are really the three criteria.
Okay, so somebody decides, yes, they want to do this. And they think they've got the plan and the business, and they believe that they've got all the ducks in a row. So how do you actually help them? And what are their next steps?
Okay, the first step is to sign up, and we have Basically, we have a 3-step process to collect information from the company for OEdit to pass judgment on who seems to be the most ready to receive money. So, and Jeff, you wanna share that link to the site. You just need to sign up first, and that's a very easy thing to do. Is you just it collects name, address, and phone number essentially, and a paragraph on what do you think you want to do. Then Jeff will send you a more detailed survey, and there's 2 of these detailed surveys, and it will start diving into the process of tell us more specifically what you want to do, give us a pitch deck or a white paper explaining what you're going to do, how's it going to make some money, what's its impact going to be on the community. So there are basically 2 more surveys, and they get to be pretty darn detailed. And I'll let you, if you don't mind, let's let Jeff talk a little bit about what some people have experienced when they start trying to sign up, because it is a detailed process. You've got to have your stuff ready to roll, at least the information. We don't care that much about how pretty it is. That's what will actually help you do. So I'll turn it over to Jeff for just a second on what you would experience if you tried to jump in there and go through the process. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, so like Ron mentioned, the first sign up is very simple, literally just your name, your company name, address. Are you located in an opportunity zone or willing to relocate? So pretty simple on that end. The next 2 surveys get a little more in depth. The first detailed survey, we get a little bit into the logistics of how your business operates. And then that second detailed survey, very, very detailed in terms of, do you have a business plan? Do you have a pro forma? Just kind of ways to gauge where you're at. So, when sometimes people sign up initially, they think, oh, this is super easy, nice and quick. And we've actually tried to avoid it being too easy in the sense that we really want real players who are ready to grow their business. That doesn't mean you have to have all the answers necessarily, but we're really looking for have you thought through the process. So the way we've kind of combated people getting a little overwhelmed when they see that first detailed survey is I have PDF versions of all these surveys, and I've been sending them out in advance. I have to stress the point that when I send these PDFs out, these are not meant to be printed out, filled in, and sent back to me. These are a way to mark it up on your own, to know what kind of questions you're going to have to answer online. It's the same exact survey, just in a paper format. It's imperative that we do it online just because we can gather all that information into our CRM and have a full picture of who your business is. So I'm more than happy to share with Kathy or anybody specifically who wants to reach out to me to send you PDF versions of those surveys, so you can start getting your ideas together. Maybe, maybe you want to begin this process, but you're going to need a week or 2 to look through those surveys, start gathering information, and then sit down at your computer and start filling those out. So I'll plan on emailing those surveys to Kathy. And if some of you guys want to jump on the gun right away, I'm going to put my email in the chat over here as well, and you can reach out to me directly, and I'll send you those surveys. So, and always feel free to reach out to me via email or phone call, and I can kind of walk you through the process. If you're getting hung up on a particular question, we can talk through it and say, you know what, don't spend too much time on that. Focus on these other areas, and we'll still have a pretty good picture of who you are. So that kind of sums it up from that regard.
Okay.
So
Go ahead, Ron.
another part of your question, Kathy, I think had to do with, yes, how do you sign up for it, but then what to expect next. So let me talk about what the next steps are in the whole process. We actually take all the information gathered together, and we select the top candidates. We would do at least 4 because the contract says we have to do 10, but we will probably do 6, bring them in, say we would select the 6 best candidates. There'll probably be some follow-up questions. There might even be a visit, but we will be in conjunction with OEdit trying to select the top probably 6 candidates to put into the process. The next step is to go through a training sessions, plural, on how do you go about raising capital in a small business? What are some of the steps? What does your pitch deck need to look like? Who might invest in your company? What can you say and what can you not say? What would be illegal to actually try to do, trying to raise money for a company? We have an attorney that that's an expert on SEC regulations, and he actually does a pretty extensive training session on the do's and don'ts of trying to raise money. After that, you have essentially 166 hours of consulting that OEdit has purchased for each of these companies, and we would actually put together an individual plan for your company as to whether you might need more training or help. We have worked with companies on trying to improve their online presence, their web page. We have worked with companies on the actual structuring of deals. We have worked with companies on their marketing plans, their business plans. There's a whole wide spectrum of the types of things we've been trying to do to help companies get ready to raise money. And some of it has to do with very simple stuff, things missing pieces in their business, polishing pitch decks, presentations, etc. All the way to we actually have a service that we use that has like 250,000 plus investors that we can actually work with you on helping you try to find the types of investors that you should go out and pitch to try to get investment. You'll hear this again and again and again. We help you, but you have to do it. This is your deal, not our deal. We are paid to assist you, but we are not pitching for you. We are not representing you. We're not brokering a deal for you. We're just helping you get the money you need to grow your business.
Okay, so at the end of this, so they've gone through this whole process, they've been selected. What do they get at the very end? Do they actually get some cash money invested from the state? Or is it just that they're all set to work with other investors? What is the final result of this?
The final result of this is that the state pays a consultant like us to help you go out and get money. They do not invest. They are investing in you through us. They're not giving you cash directly. You have to go get the money, whether it be a loan or a grant. And then some people, a grant is actually very valuable, or equity through selling a piece of your business one way or another, bringing in money. So this is paid for consulting. This is not a grant. This is not a giveaway program. We're not looking for the people with their hand out. We're looking for people who have a plan and they need some help finding the best avenues to get investment dollars in from banks, investors, government programs, etc. So it's basically, to you, free consulting, honestly. It's not free money.
Well, and that's something out here that in the rural areas especially has been hard to come by. So that's not an insignificant thing that would help our rural businesses out here. We're getting right at the end of our program. Does anyone have any questions? I see nothing in the chat room, so I'm assuming you're all understanding everything Ron is saying.
So let me add one of the things, since you have a couple of minutes. Sitting behind me is my good buddy, Vaughn Frost. Vaughn's a database guru, IT guru. We have advisors in our group that are experts in IT applications, marketing, real estate. Again, this is not going to be primarily a real estate deal, but real estate is almost always involved. So we have people who can help with real estate transactions. We have experts in HR, human resource management, and human resource law. We have experts in how to structure deals. Those are all available to you, how to write business plans. You have 166 hours to buy whatever we have that can help you.
Okay, Jeff, last comments?
Yeah, the last thing I would add is, I think Ron hit on it earlier, but OEdit is very, very intentional about targeting rural businesses. So, you know, if you are feeling that element when you're looking at these surveys going, I don't know if I'm that far along in the process, you have a better chance actually than maybe some tech company in the middle of Denver, which, who technically is in an opportunity zone, simply because you're a rural business. So definitely don't hesitate to apply to this program.
And
Yes,
I
and the
believe,
size.
go ahead, Ron.
And size is not important. We have very, very small, actually, we have a company in Logan County that is a very small operation, and OEdit was very interested in trying to help them.
Yep.
So does OEdit make the final decision on who they're going to help with your services?
Yes, they have the final call on that. They depend a lot on input from us because they want to try to pick the highest probability of success. And so they'll listen to us. Yes, we think these guys, although they're small, they're starting up, they have a pretty good shot.
Okay, and the last question, I believe applications opened on the 20th of this month, and when do they close?
Jeff, that's
They close August 31st.
August 31st. Okay.
Yep.
so there's time, but it takes time to do this.
Yep.
All righty. And I guess the last question, you said 160 hours of consulting time. How long can that be spread out over? I mean, is there?
Technically, it can be spread out into the end of June 2021. That's when the contract ends, but it needs to be spent much faster than that, because these things just, if they take a lot of time to do, they just don't work. So really, you ought to try to spend it by the end of the year, really. End of the calendar year,
Yep.
honestly.
Great. Well, I thank all of you for being on the call this morning. I hope this was helpful. You all have a great weekend. Stay out of the heat, and we will talk to you all later.